Widow, Marvel's 24th movie in the MCU, kicks off Phase 4 by taking us back to the beginning of Phase 3. Does it succeed in finally giving an overlooked character its due, or is it 5 years too late? Here's my review. Black Widow is a tricky movie to pull off. Spoiler alert, the character's dead. She sacrificed herself in Avengers Endgame because she felt like that was the thing she had to do to save the one thing she's been searching for her whole life. Family. Ah, damn it. Dominic Toretto, where are you when we need you most? And let me just say up front, I think it was a mistake to kill off Black Widow. I understand they needed to raise the stakes, but the stakes in Endgame are already sky high. Plus, you had Hawkeye standing right there. He's the one who needed to go, especially after he lost his way and was just straight up murdering people post-blip. Also, you know, it's Hawkeye. But that's not how it shook out. And Black Widow doesn't have an app, so Hawkeye gets to live. And so now the only thing they can do with Black Widow is look backwards, which means you aren't getting life or death stakes for Natasha here. And this puts the onus solely on the strength of the personal story they tell. And luckily, that's where Black Widow succeeds. The story follows Natasha and her sister Yelena as children in Ohio, which is quickly revealed to be an undercover assignment for their parents, who turn out to be not their parents, but Russian spies. And this faux ideal family is something Natasha knows wasn't real, but still chases for the rest of her life. And her sister does the same thing, but she wants to believe what they had was real. Unfortunately, their lives are taken from them when they're indoctrinated into the Black Widow program and have their free will and even reproductive organs taken away from them. They are justifiably upset, especially at their fake mother and father who basically just walked them into the Red Room. We're then shown Natasha and Yelena taken through Red Room training, set to a slowed down, string-heavy cover of Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. Because nothing and no one can avoid being a part of the MCU. And that includes you, Kurt Cobain. Thought you could get out of it, didn't ya? Years later, post-Civil War, Captain America Civil War that is, Yelena, played by Florence Florence P. What is it?
How to say Florence Pugh? You say it like that, Florence Pugh. It's like Hugh, but with a P.
Pugh, got it. She's sent on a mission to assassinate a former Black Widow, but as she's doing that, she gets hit with this red dust that removes her mind control. Yelena gets the remaining red dust, sends it to Natasha, presumably for safekeeping. However, that doesn't last long because Natasha is then pursued by the Taskmaster, a Captain America-esque soldier with a shield who can mimic whoever they're fighting and was set up in the commercials as the big bad. But more on that later. We'll get back to that one. When Natasha finally meets back up with Yelena, they fight because, I don't know, it's been 5 minutes since a fight scene. Eventually, though, they do team up. They go on a little Terminator 2 in Mexico-esque side trip. Then they decide to destroy the Red Room and stop the Widow program once and for all. But in order to do that, they got to go Dominic Toretto and get the family back together. And that involves busting their father, Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, out of jail, then meeting up with their mother, who still works with Dreykov / the Red Room. And once the family is reunited, this, for me, is when the movie finally picks up. The emotional moments hit hardest, and it's most effective when it touches on Natasha and Yelena's trauma and the life they could have had that was taken away from them. Up until this point, I wasn't really buying the dynamic between Natasha and Yelena. Their quips back and forth just kind of fell flat for me. But it's only when they meet up with their fake parents that the movie totally comes alive, and the jokes and quips land a lot better. Now, most of this is due to David Harbour, who is excellent in this. He's having a ton of fun hamming it up in this role, and it's just a really fun character to play. There's a great mini gag where he's finally pouring his heart out and apologizing to various family members, but they're never around when he thinks they are. It feels very Marvel, but also fits perfectly with the dysfunctional family motif. Yeah, David Harbour, he's having a bit of a renaissance here. He's also fantastic in No Sudden Move on HBO Max, but that's for another time. Go watch it, though. Also, I really want Red Guardian and Thick Thor to meet and just talk about meat. Eventually, they infiltrate the Red Room on a sky base and confront the true villain, Dreykov, played by Ray Winstone. He's the one responsible for the Red Room and mind control, and he tries to act as sort of a father figure to all the widows. It's revealed that Black Widow thought she killed him years ago, but actually failed, and now his ultimate goal is to control Natasha and have her infiltrate the Avengers, so it's up to her to exact revenge, again, for real this time. And you're probably asking, wait, what about the Taskmaster you were talking about? Yeah, right, the Taskmaster. Well, let me just say, if you've seen this TV spot...
Who the hell is that guy?
Taskmaster. He can mimic anyone he's ever seen. He controls the whole army of widows.
He's gotta be stopped.
Lucky us.
It's very misleading. Taskmaster is framed as this, oh my gosh, this incredible new villain, the Taskmaster, who has mimic abilities. And I get it, for marketing purposes, a cool outfit with badass moves is going to catch a kid's eye better than Ray Winstone. But it's also setting you up for disappointment. I'm already seeing hate online for the Taskmaster, and I can see how people might want to compare Taskmaster to the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, or Ghost in Ant-Man and Wasp, or most egregiously, Deadpool in Wolverine Origins, but no, it's not that. Also, I like the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and that's my lukewarm take that everyone gets mad at me about, but I like it. I also heard complaints about Taskmaster's outfit in the movie. What, you wanted to see this on screen? And their cute little tighty-whities and Eddie Munster cowl? Come on. Plus, you know they've got Moon Knight just around the corner. You can't do that. You can't have two tighty-whities hanging around. I have no emotional connection to Taskmaster. And I'm always going to err on the side of what's best for character and story, not just what's super cool. And I actually thought the reveal here was emotionally relevant to Black Widow's story. It's true to her character, and a physical manifestation of the difficult choices she's had to make and the guilt she's had to live with. It's way more impactful than if it were just some rando badass master of tasks. If you're mad about Taskmaster, like, I don't know, the ocean is literally on fire. Maybe direct that anger elsewhere. So it comes down to Black Widow and her family trying to stop Dreykov, and by the end it turns into classic Marvel spectacle. But the script by longtime Marvel writer Eric Pearson, who also gave us the deliriously great Thor Ragnarok, does an excellent job of tying the emotional elements into the action. The action set pieces are decent, they're okay. There's nothing here that you're gonna go like, holy cow, did you see that scene with the avalanche? Like, it's all okay. It all services the story, though. And a lot of the entertainment comes from Natasha and her sister not having a plan, which also has a payoff, which is nice. But the third act suffers from a bit of rehashing the flying base that's crashing to the ground. We saw that in Winter Soldier. It's all fine, though. It all kind of works pretty well. I've seen a couple complaints that Black Widow doesn't have the scope Marvel movies require nowadays. But to that I say, no. We're entering phase 4. And after building 20 movies to get to Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, we need a reset. We've got to scale back here. We got a little bit of that in Spider-Man Far From Home. That was super well received. And you also have to think about where this is in the context of the timeline now. It's right after Civil War. And so if this movie has some other huge world-threatening event going on, it's going to bring the other Avengers out, and you don't need that. This is a smaller scale movie. It's more personally focused. It's all about character development and emotion, and that's what you need. The scope means nothing if you don't care about the characters. And I thought Black Widow went out of its way to make sure you care about what these characters have gone through and how they're dealing with it. It's entertaining, and the emotion hits in the right places, at least for me. But I do have one major issue with this movie, and it's this feeling that hangs over everything. It kind of feels like a, whoops, our bad, sorry we killed off a major character. Does this feature-length movie help? It makes me wonder how we'd view Black Widow if this did come 5 years earlier. Would her moment in Endgame work better if we knew all this information ahead of time? Or would it still feel kind of icky? I don't know. It still feels weird to me. I'm telling you, just throw Hawkeye over that cliff and we're fine. But if you take that element out of it and you just look at this as a standalone, I really like Black Widow. It's a good Marvel movie, and it does her justice, but it also feels like there was so much more to this character, and now she's just gone. It may have come a little too late. Black Widow is only in theaters, unless you want to pay the $30 to watch it on Disney Plus, and that's fine too. And if you did see it, what do you think? Did you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you have feelings on Taskmaster? Does it, I mean, come on, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? Let me know in the comments, and help goose the almighty YouTube algorithm with a thumbs up and a subscribe. I bow down to my algorithm gods, and I'll see you guys next time.